And modelling uniforms through the ages, I am delighted to say it's Girls Aloud. Now, in 1854, when the Crimean War broke out, the British Army suffered some very heavy losses, and a young woman called Florence Nightingale travelled to Turkey with a team of British nurses. She became famous as the Lady with the Lamp, and her strict regime of cleanliness and discipline saved the lives of hundreds of soldiers. When Florence returned home, she established the first ever training school for nurses at St Thomas's Hospital in London. Today, which is the 12th of May, is the 183rd anniversary of Florence Nightingale's birth, a fitting date to celebrate International Nurses' Day. Florence gave the role of nursing a new respectability, as did the wearing of uniforms. And Nadine, how is it, apart from
It's
large?
pretty big,
Yeah.
large, and the shoes are really uncomfortable, so it's
A little bit different to what you're used to.
Yep.
But you're looking absolutely fine, do not worry. Now, different coloured gowns distinguish student nurses from staff nurses and sisters. 100 years ago, this is what a nursing sister from the Royal London Hospital wore. An ankle-length skirt and apron, a closely fitted front bodice and long, tight-fitting sleeves. Kimberly, lovely walk down the middle, how is it?
It's all right, the sleeves are a little bit tight and a bit bulky here, so it'd be a bit hard to wear.
A bit baggy around the shoulders, perhaps?
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, nurses had to wear their hair in a bun, topped off with what was called a Dora cap, which is what you can see there. Thanks ever so much, Kimberly. Now, between the 1890s and the beginning of the First World War in 1914, nurses proudly wore their uniforms even when they were off duty. Now, women who chose to become nurses decided mostly to be unmarried and lived in hostels that were provided by hospitals. As fashion changed, so did nurses' uniforms. Nurses sporting new shorter haircuts had to disguise their racy hairstyle by wearing what was known as a V.A.D. cap. Like a handkerchief tied at the back of the head, the cap covered the neck so you couldn't see the length of the nurse's hair. Cheryl?
yeah.
It's not the sort of hat you wear normally. What do you think of it?
Maybe it's in a different colour.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Khaki?
Sounds perfect.
We'll go for that, absolutely. Now, in 1930s, this dark green uniform would have been worn by a nurse from the Royal London Hospital visiting private patients, even members of the royal family. That's been sported by Nicola. Now, when rationing was introduced during the Second World War, knee-length skirts became much closer to the fashion of the day, as did these absolutely cracking mother-of-pearl buttons. And nurses found that the softer collars and shorter skirt lengths much easier to wear. Thanks for wearing that, Sarah. Not wearing a skirt, here's Matt.
It's me, yeah. Now, the National Health Service was introduced in 1948, promising free healthcare to everyone. Male nurses began working in general hospitals from the 1950s, and their uniform consisted of a white tunic, like this, and a nice pair of black trousers. Hasn't changed at all. Any aches or pains? Is everybody all right? Just your temperature to get then,
I'm on
Simon.
a spot of athlete's foot. Yeah. Now, with the NHS came calls for a national nurses' uniform, and here's the lovely Liz.
Yep. I'm wearing a uniform from the 1970s, which was worn by nurses in varying colours all around the UK. Feeling fine? Feeling good.
Now, nurses' uniforms, as you can see, have come a long way from the ankle wool dresses and starched collars and caps of 100 years ago.
Yes, today's nurses are most likely to be seen in short-sleeve tops and trousers, and next Monday you can see me in action on a hospital ward when I spent the day as a nurse.
Looking forward to that. A big thanks to Girls Aloud. You can see them in slightly more up-to-date outfits a little bit later when they perform their brand new single.